All right, you guys should see the recording in the top left corner of your screen.
Well, I thought I was ready to go. Let my computer load up here, please, and thank you.
Mr. Eric, while that's loading, can we let them know about Classroom Feud for next week, just because it's at a different time, where we're all together?
Yes, thank you. Because I do not believe. And I will, you know what, Miss Ashley, I will add that in right now. So let's get started here. Welcome everyone to TTN News 6 for this edition. We are going to take a look at our plans for today. We're gonna have our news at a glance. We're gonna see Chef's Corner with Mr. Terrence. We're gonna be around town, local updates with Miss Connie. This Day in History with Mr. Sam. Sports news with Mr. Eric. Local weather with Mr. Charles Newhouse. And we're gonna do our Pop Culture Insider, as always, with Miss Ashley. Some of our headline news. As you may know, Lyle Torrance Center will remain virtual through January 4th. All learning will take place online virtually. Christmas break will start December 19th through January the 3rd. Hope everybody's excited about Christmas break and excited about enjoying this wonderful time of the year. We will be having 2 events next week. The transition team will be hosting the Christmas Zoom during this normal 11:30 time next Wednesday, December 16th. We'll also be doing at 10 o'clock, we'll be doing a Christmas feud against the Torrent high school team and the Torrent transition team. So we're gonna have a big group on there. Hope you all can make it to be a part of that. And we are going to have a little bit of fun and a little bit of competition between the Torrent transition group and the Torrent high school group. So that, again, that is 10 o'clock next Wednesday for the feud and 11:30 next Wednesday for Christmas, our Christmas gathering. Miss Ashley, anything that I missed there?
Nope, that was good, Mr. Eric.
Okay. It is time to move forward with our newscast to our Chef's Corner with Mr. Terrence. Mr. Terrence, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Eric. Let's get your ABC cards ready and move on to the next slide. All right, right here we're looking at some bread. You can buy these in big loaves at the grocery store because this is going to be a main ingredient for our upcoming recipe. Next slide, please, sir. All right, let's look at our picture here. Which recipe is going to use bread? Is it going to be A? Is it going to be B? Or is it going to be C? Technical difficulties?
Sorry.
That's all right.
I was trying to get everyone's picture up. I can't see everyone. Sorry.
All right, so which recipe uses bread? Is it A or A, B or C? I see lots of C's up. Destiny, what do you got holding up there? You're covering up a little bit. C. Nice. Lots of C's. Sam's got a C. All right, it is C. C would be stuffing. So a lot of people make this inside of a turkey for Thanksgiving. Today, we're actually going to learn how to make it on a stove, like a stovetop recipe. A would have been green bean casserole, no bread in there. And B is a big bowl of mashed potatoes, no bread in there. So we're going to go on with C. We're going to move on to our next slide, please, sir. We're going to look at what ingredients we're going to need. Quite a few. We're going to need 8 different ingredients. Some things you may currently have in your refrigerator or pantry. Some you may not, would have to go buy at the store or do a little curbside grocery shopping. So our first ingredient over here, we have bread, main ingredient. Number 2 ingredient is going to be celery. Our number 3 ingredient, it's going to be a seasoning called sage. Our number 4 ingredient, also another seasoning, is going to be parsley. You could actually get fresh parsley as well at the store and cut that up if you'd like. Sometimes it's easier to use a little prepackaged dried out celery or parsley though. Moving back up to our second column, number 5, we see an onion. I prefer to use a white onion over like a red onion. It is going to make you get a little teary-eyed though while you're cutting this versus a red onion. Number 6 is butter. Make Paula Deen proud. And number 7, another seasoning would be thyme. And lastly, we're going to need some broth. I use a chicken broth when I make this recipe. So with the holidays coming up, most people cook stuffing and make it for Thanksgiving, but I honestly like it all year round. So it's good for the Christmas time. A lot of people would be gathering with family members, making big dinners for their family gatherings. But since we're going to kind of rein that in this year, you can still make this recipe at home with your family and enjoy it. So if we want to click that classic stuffing recipe at the top of the screen for us, Mr. Eric, and we'll watch a quick video on how to make stuffing at home.
Good grammar and spelling are important, but if you want to write essays that inspire, messages that forge brighter connections, and emails that give the
Glad to see I'm not the only one with internet problems today.
Thanksgiving classics that you and your family will love, today I am sharing my classic stuffing recipe. I live for stuffing. I love stuffing. It's actually by far my favorite part of Thanksgiving.
The audio just dropped out.
A bird is actually called dressing.
Is it back?
Yep.
This is actually my classic dressing recipe, but I prefer to call it stuffing because that's what I've always called it. Now that we've got that cleared up, we're going to get started with some really great bread. In this case, I'm using a crusty French loaf, and I'm just going to use a sharp serrated knife to cut it into half-inch cubes. I'm going to spread all of those cubes out on a baking sheet to help it dry out. Now, the drier your bread is, the more delicious your stuffing will inevitably be. I know that sounds a little counterintuitive, but the fact is that dry bread actually absorbs yummy flavors a lot better than moist bread. So you have 2 options for drying out your bread. One is to do this process the night before and let it dry out in an oven that is off, where there's very little humidity overnight. Or if you are pressed for time, you can also go ahead and pop it in your oven at 200 degrees Fahrenheit for about an hour or so, around every 15 minutes so it dries out evenly, and keep a good eye on it. You're not trying to toast it, you want it to dry out. All right, so now that we've taken care of drying out our bread, it is time to get to work on all the flavors of this stuffing. This all starts by chopping up some onion and some celery. I love both of these things more than you can possibly imagine. Then I'm going to melt some butter on the stove, and when I say some butter, I mean a lot of butter, because one of the most delicious parts of stuffing that it actually is drenched in butter. Don't be afraid. Thanksgiving calories don't count. At least not at my house. Once that butter is nice and melted and heated up, it's time to add my onion and celery. I'm going to cook that for 4 or 5 minutes or until it gets nice and soft and those onions become translucent. Then it's time to add some yummy fresh herbs. In this case, I'm using some sage, some thyme leaves, and some parsley. And then we're going to add some broth. In this case, I'm using vegetable broth, but you could also do this with chicken broth, except that it would be really nice for all your vegetarian friends to be able to enjoy the stuffing, because stuffing is the best part of Thanksgiving, even for vegetarians. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Use some vegetable broth. Be kind to your vegetarian friends. Once it has reached a simmer, we're going to turn the heat off on our stove and add in our bread. We're just going to give this a good stir until all of those breadcrumbs are soaked with all of that yumminess. Then we are going to finish this off by mixing in 2 beaten eggs. Once all of that is mixed up, we are going to pour this mixture into a well-greased baking dish, and then we are going to pop it in the oven covered in foil for about 30 minutes or so, or just until it's heated through. For the last 15 minutes of cooking, we are going to remove that foil to make sure the top gets nice and crispy. And that's it. Stuffing made easy. I hope you'll give this awesomeness a try, and if you do, you must tweet me, Instagram me, or Snapchat me a photo, because of course I love seeing your creations. If you're looking for more great advice on how to orchestrate the perfect Thanksgiving dinner so that everything is scheduled down to the minute, check out Thanksgiving Dinner Countdown. It is super, super helpful. You should also check out all of the rest of the yummy videos in this season. They're all classic and easy and foolproof and delicious. And most importantly, you should subscribe because there is lots more. Thank you.
All right. That does look delicious, Mr. Terrence.
So that's how I make my stuffing at home. I don't do stovetop out of the box, and I get tons of compliments on preparing stuffing that way. So let's see your pictures. Make some this season at your home. Share them online so we can look at them and enjoy. That's it for me. Back to Eric.
Thank you, Mr. Terrence.
Thank you.
I'm already missing Thanksgiving dinner as we speak. That looks way better than the stovetop that I had this year. Okay, it's time to head over to our County Insider with Miss Connie. Miss Connie.
Everyone, this time of year, if you look out your windows or when you're driving down the street, you'll see a lot of houses with holiday lights. And time of year when my family and maybe yours likes to do things together, but because of trying to be safe this year, we are changing some of those things. But one of the things that you can still do is one, go around your neighborhood with your parents and look at the pretty lights. Or I am going to tell you about 2 places close to us that have special drive-through only light displays. The one on the top is in Wayne County. It's at Domino Farms. It is called the Light Fest. It is a magical 4.5-mile drive through holiday light display. They're open now every Wednesday through Sunday until the 31st of December. They close for Christmas. The lights for the Light Fest are on from 6 p.m. to, to 10 p.m. every Wednesday through Sunday. The fees for driving through Domino Farms are $5 a car, and the entrance is on Meridian, I cannot talk right now, Road. The other place I want to tell you about is closer, and it's at MIS Speedway in Brooklyn. Here is a 3-mile night light displays. As you go through, you can view all the lights from your car while listening to holiday music. It is also open now through the 31st. Sundays through Thursdays, they're open from 5:30 to 9, and it's $25 a car. Fridays and Saturdays, 5:30 to 10, and it's $30 a car. And Miss Eric or Mr. Eric, could you click on that bottom picture? I have a sneak preview of MIS lights. I know some folks that have gone there and have had to wait a little while to get in because it is very popular. We went last year and I think we only waited 10 minutes, which wasn't bad. We always take some refreshments with us in the car, and it's just a real fun family time together to enjoy the sights and the sounds of the season. So, my question for all of you is, do you enjoy looking at holiday lights? Yes or no?
Yes.
And as I look through, the majority of our friends all enjoy viewing the lights. I just like driving through the roads of Jackson and seeing the different displays that families have in the yards. But if you and your family are interested, those are two great places to check out holiday lights. That's all for me. Enjoy the season. Back to you, Mr. Eric.
Thanks, Miss Connie. I think you're right. It's a good year to drive around the neighborhood because a lot of people have had extra time to get their lights up this year and earlier than normal. And that was a very nice preview of MIS. You may have even saved everyone $25. I'm thinking about possibly driving up there to Wayne County. I did not know about Domino Farm, so I appreciate that, Miss Connie. All right. Moving on to this day in history with our favorite historian, the all knowledgeable Mr. Sam.
Mr. Sam here. And yes, and just so everyone knows, I do live right by Michigan International Speedway, and I've been scoping out that whole nightlight thing. A trick to avoid all of that traffic, if you come from the west side, so if you're heading east on US 12, you can avoid all that backup because the majority of the backup are the people who are heading west towards there. So a little trick, you just go along the back side of the track. But let's get past that and get to this day in history. Go ahead, Mr. Eric. You can switch us to our next slide.
Great tip, Mr. Sam.
All right. All right. So this day, and of course, today is December 9th. But on December 9th, back in 1931, if we're looking at the very top left, that gentleman sticking his hand out in the black and white, well, that gentleman was Mr. J. Burwanger. He was the very first Heisman Trophy award winner. And of course, Heisman Trophy means that you are the best football player in college football for that particular year. So that's a pretty big deal because they still give that out each year. I think I even won that back in my glory days when I was in college, but I would have to go and check my stats for that. Okay, then moving on over, we're still carrying our sports theme. Back on this day in history, back in 1978, it was the first game for the Women's Pro Basketball League. Now, of course, you're probably wondering, what is the Women's Pro Basketball League? That is actually the league before they had the WNBA, which was the Women's National Basketball Association. And this was the very first game, and it was against the Chicago Hustle. Now, this is back in the 70s. They had a little bit more of a groovier nature to it. The Chicago Hustle, and then the Milwaukee Does, as you can see their mascot. And in this case, the Chicago Hustle were victorious. And then bringing it on to our more holiday theme, on this day back in 1965, a Charlie Brown Christmas was the first Peanuts animated special to premiere on CBS in the United States. Pretty cool beans. And then, on a more serious historical note, we'll look back at this day in 1992 when Operation Restore Hope had engaged where the U.S. Marines landed in Somalia. Now, that was due to Somalia currently going through a civil war. There was a lot of issues going on, and the U.S. Marines, as well as some other organizations, went out there to help restore I guess justice out there. It was kind of a mess, and we were out there for roughly about 6 years before we pulled our troop back, which then leads us to our next slide, Mr. Eric, which is our quiz. So a quick quiz, you'll need either your A or your B cards for this. It says, what Christmas special premiered on CBS December 9th, 1965? Was it A, the Charlie Brown Christmas, or B, the Star Wars Holiday Special? And that actually, B is actually a real thing, but who knows if it actually happened on that day or not. So was it A Charlie Brown Christmas? Was it A? my little lowercase a, or was it B, a Star Wars holiday special? I'm looking through. We've got A there. We've got an A. I'm saying we got, was that a B? Maybe
Charlie
B, A. Oh,
Brown.
okay. We got A's. We got A's. All right. If you selected a Charlie Brown Christmas, you are absolutely correct. The Star Wars Holiday Special didn't come out until the 70s. And that is Today in History with Mr. Sam. Back to you, Mr. Eric.
Thank you, Mr. Sam. That was excellent. I do love Charlie Brown Christmas, but if you haven't seen the Star Wars Holiday Special, you should definitely check that out this year.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't be missing much.
Okay, sports fans, it's time for a quick review of our sports update. Here's our sports recap from last week. Michigan football was scheduled to have Maryland come to the Big House, but that game was canceled due to COVID-19 concerns with the Michigan football team. Michigan State football took on the 5-0 Ohio State Buckeyes at East Lansing, and they took a big loss, 52-12, against a very powerful and very good Ohio State team. Lions, the Detroit Lions were able to scrape out a 34-30 win against Chicago. It was a barn burner right to the end, but Lions were able to pick up a nice win, so that was a pleasant end to a Sunday for sports fans in Michigan. Here is our upcoming games for the week. The 5-7 Detroit Lions are going to take on, I'm sorry, I don't have the their record there, but I believe they are the 9-3 Green Bay Packers, a very good Packers team. This Sunday, you can see that 1 p.m. live on NFL Network. I do believe that will be broadcasted on local channels as well. Michigan was scheduled to take on Ohio State, the now 6-0 Ohio State, and we're projecting that Michigan would upset Ohio State, but not because they would beat them on the football field, because they would likely have to cancel the game and upset them in another way. So that game will not be played this week. Michigan will be on another bye, and Ohio State will also take a bye. Michigan State football, 2-4 Michigan State will take on Penn State at Penn State, 2-5 Penn State. That game can be seen on Saturday at 3:30 p.m. on ESPN. In local high school sports news, it is almost time for high school basketball season. Basketball in the state of Michigan is currently under review. Teams are scheduled to start on December 21st this year. It will be moved from a 20-game to a 12-game season for each high school. I will also have limited fans, so keep yourself posted here, sports fans. We're still waiting to see if high school basketball will happen in the state of Michigan this year. So we will keep you updated on that. So quick sports news poll. I want to know who has ever been to a basketball game. It could be a high school basketball game. It could be a college basketball game. It could be a professional basketball game. I want to know. Let me know right now, Torrent Tigers. We're going to need your yes or your no card. And if someone else could help me, because I cannot see any of our viewers today, if someone could help me see what's out there.
Destiny is saying yes.
All right, Destiny.
Lee is saying yes. Molly B, hey, have you ever seen the Torrent or the Kit Young Bulldogs play a basketball game?
That's right.
Yes. Okay. And then Juju, what'd you say?
Say it. What'd you say? Yes.
Yes. Good job, Julia.
And that's it for our friends. Most of the teachers say yes too.
Thank you very much. I thought we had quite a few basketball fans in our group, and I can see that that is definitely the truth. I'm glad everyone has gone to a basketball game. If you've never been to, if you really want to go see a fun basketball game, I suggest when things open back up that you go and check out the Harlem Globetrotters when they come back into town. Talk about some exciting events and just basketball and all kinds of different craziness. So Harlem Globetrotters, keep that on your list of things to do in the near future. Okay, it's time for our weather. We're gonna send it over to our meteorology center with our meteorologist, Mr. Charles Newhouse. Take it away, Mr. Charles.
Good afternoon, everybody. Fun fact, I actually went to a Harlem Globetrotters basketball game for my 10th birthday. Surprise, surprise, they won.
Man, they're good.
It was a great time, though. They have an excellent record. Now I'm going to ask all our friends to get out our weather cards that were sent home with you and with your AB selections and your yeses and nos. And I'd like you to make a prediction. What do you think the weather is like outside today? We're going to check the Jackson weather in just a moment, but I'd like to see your guys' predictions. So I'm going to flip through. Oh, Miss Kaylee's. I see sunny. Excellent prediction. Let's see. I see some cloudy. Cloudy from Destiny. Let's see. Miss Molly, what do you think the weather is like outside today? Let's see. Flipping through my friends. I see lots of clouds and a few sun. Miss Kasha's holding out a cold picture. That is a wise prediction as well. Mr. Eric, if you don't mind hitting the question mark here on the TV, I'll take us to our Jackson weather for the day. And as you can see, the Jackson weather as of right now, 11:57. So just a few minutes ago was 39 degrees. It is cloudy. So all of you who guessed cloudy, you were correct. Those are great predictions. The high today is 45 degrees. Hopefully it does get up to that. But unfortunately the low is 27. There's only a 5% chance of precipitation. That means snow later on with it being that cold. So I actually looked up the 10-day forecast a couple days ago, and it wasn't predicting really much any snow. So we'll have to wait and see a little bit closer if we're going to be able to have a white Christmas this year. If you don't mind going back, Mr. Eric, please. And if you click on that snowflake for me, I'll take us to our question. I'm going to ask you guys to make a prediction because we haven't covered this, but I'd like to see what your thoughts are. On February 28th, 1887, the largest snowflake ever recorded was found and recorded by the Guinness Book of World Records. How big was the biggest snowflake ever discovered? Was it A, the size of a baseball, B, the size of a grapefruit, or C, the size of a dinner plate? What do you guys think? Miss Kasha says A. I'm seeing some B's. Let me flip through our friends here. A, B, B. Shanna says C. Our lone C in the bunch. Lots of A's and B's.
I'll take C, Mr.
Okay. Well, I got to say, Mr. Eric and Shanna are correct. The largest snowflake ever was 15 inches, roughly the size of a dinner plate. I would have loved to see that myself. All right, nice predictions, everybody. And if you go to the next slide, Mr. Eric, we just have some fun weather facts before we're done for the weather today. Our fun weather facts for this week are rare winter activities. Rare winter weather activities. The first one being a snow-nado. These are very rare occurrences. It happens in big fields with snow that's not very sticky or heavy. It's very light snow, very powdery, and when the wind blows through that field and creates a vortex, it could create what looks like a snow NATO, also called a snow devil. The second picture here are called ice boulders, and these are actually pretty common on the Great Lakes. What it is once the Great Lakes start to freeze, they never freeze completely because they're so huge. But as they start to freeze, little chunks of ice will break off from the waves. The waves will keep blowing on top of those chunks, eroding it down to that smooth texture. But also, as the waves hit it, it starts to freeze more and more and create that boulder look. So sometimes these will wash up on the shores of the Great Lakes, which I thought were pretty cool. And the last one is called a snow donut. And these happen in great big fields as well when there's this time with a sticky snow, just a layer of sticky snow. As the wind blows through, it starts to roll that up into a ball, and since it's blowing in the one direction of the wind, it creates a donut look like that. And that's it for our interesting weather facts for the day. Thanks, Mr. Eric.
Thank you, Mr. Charles. I have never seen a snow donut or an ice boulder. And I don't believe I've seen a snow NATO, so.
Go up to the UP, Eric.
Very, very cool. Yes, I must be, I have to. All right, let's try to move forward to our last segment of our broadcast. Bear with me here as we try to move this. Come on. There we go. It's time for pop culture with Miss Ash. Miss Ashley, it's all yours.
All right, guys. So you see our pop culture museum got decorated for Christmas, and it's got a couple spoilers in there for things I'm going to talk to you guys about. So you need to kind of take a peek. See if you can prepare. And Mr. Eric, if you can click to our next page. So you guys can see Mr. Sam and I are like morphing into one teacher at this point. So what popular holiday movie aired today in 1965? Is it A, The Santa Claus, B, Polar Express, or C, Charlie Brown Christmas? Perfect, you guys, it's C. Good job, Mr. Sam, for telling us. But since Mr. Sam already asked us that question, I'm going to ask you guys I'm sure some friends from our group will say a trick question, but I want to know, this movie has been out for 55 years today. So that's why it's pop culture, because things that happen in history become really important today. So this movie has been around for 55 years. So I want to know if you think the movie is older or your teachers are older. So if you think the movie is older, hold up A. If you think your teachers are older, hold up B. I want to know. Destiny, you're saying the movie Gold Star. Julia, what did you say? B? I figured. Molly's giggling. She must think B too. Kaylee said A. Gold Star, Kaylee. A. Yeah, the movie's older. All right, Mr. Eric, next page, we're going to watch a little clip of the Charlie Brown Christmas movie.
Right. I won't let all this commercialism ruin my Christmas. I'll take this little tree home and decorate it, and I'll show them it really will work in our play. dog is not going to ruin my Christmas. I've killed it. Oh, everything I touch gets ruined. I never thought it was such a bad little tree. It's not bad at all, really. Maybe it just needs a little love. Charlie Brown is a blockhead, but he did get a nice tree. What's going on here?
Mr. Eric, my audio clipped out, so you can actually just go to the next slide. So we talked about a couple weeks ago about last week actually, about voting for a transition tradition. And in the chat box, I told Mr. Terrence that it's a tradition in my classroom that we normally watch this movie all together. But we need to decide a transition tradition that we can all do together. And so I had some friends send me messages to let me know what they thought. And I had one person suggest we should have a cookie contest, and we can do the Great Torrent Christmas Cookie Bake Off edition. We could have a snowball fight with some pom-pom snowballs, not real snow, but like pom-pom fluffy snowballs. Or we could make ornaments. So every year we could make a different ornament that we could decorate with. Or you guys could say no if you have a different idea that I didn't put up here. So I want to see what your vote is so we can plan for next year. What do you guys think? Should we do A, the Great Torrent Bake Off, B, a snowball fight or a not snowball fight, C, making ornaments, or no, I want to do something else, Miss Ash?
Virtual snowball fight.
See, 1, 2. This is for next year, Miss Carlos. We might be face to face, hopefully. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I see 6, 7 A's, 7 A's, 2, 3 B's, 4 B's, and then I see some. We should do all of them. So it looks like A is our winner, but maybe we could do all of them next year, which will be super fun. But you guys know if we do a cookie bake-off, a Great Torrent bake-off again, Mr. Clark is going to want to be the judge. So we'll have to see if we can get him involved. Mr. Eric, if you could go to the next slide for me. So December birthdays. I missed 2 on the birthday list. Don't worry, I already know which 2 I missed, Miss Kasha. I see that sad face. So we have Miss Carla's birthday tomorrow. We have Miss Kasha's birthday on the 16th, Miss Kasha, and Miss Margaret's birthday on the 28th. Did I miss anybody else's birthday this month? No? Okay. So then happy birthday. So all of you guys, we need to sign happy birthday to our friends. Okay. So happy birthday. Mr. Sam will put you in the January list. Okay. All right. So happy birthday. We hope you guys have the best birthday from all of us here at TTN 6. And that's it for me, Mr. Eric.
And that does it for this edition of our TTN 6. We want to thank everyone for tuning in as always. Thank you to the teachers who produced this week, and we'll look forward to the next time we tune in. Don't forget Christmas celebration and Christmas feud next week, the 16th, 10 o'clock Christmas feud, 11:30 Christmas virtual party. Look forward to seeing you all there, Torrent Tigers. And as always, go out and roar. Have a great day, Torrent Tigers. We'll see you later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Everyone.